Hello everyone, good evening. Am I audible? Can you guys see my screen? Can I get some response in chat box? Good evening all. Good evening. Good evening all. Can I get some response? Am I audible? Can you guys see my screen? Welcome to day 5 of our AI with NVIDIA masterclass. Good evening all. So I think in the previous class we have discussed about the introduction of deep learning and all, right? So today we will be discussing about the packages. So before continuing, I just need some response in chat box. Yes. Good evening. Good evening all. Thank you for the confirmation. And in this particular session, we are going to discuss about the packages, how to install and all. Because if you are someone who are familiar with machine learning or deep learning in your particular laptop, which is Windows, okay, so in your computer or Windows, it will be easy for you to install with GPU support. It's pretty much easy task. But here you get lot of problems. Okay, so the problem means actually this Jetson Nano is having a Python version of, what is the Python version? Do you guys remember what we have actually? Anyone remember about it? What is the Python version? So ours actually the Python is 3.6 version. That's what available in our Jetson, right? So particularly if you are going for PyTorch or TensorFlow or the libraries, you have to go and you will be something like downgrading and go and pick the old versions. So the version should match. So you have to build actually. So this process takes nearly something like half a day, okay, totally, because there are a lot of process going on here. So I have the command lines and all available with me. I'll be showing you guys. If you guys are interested or if you have the device, you could also recreate and install it. Okay, so please make sure you try to do it. 3.6. So if you are an internship user, I'll be providing you the content. Actually, we have to go through a lot of steps like this. For PyTorch, you have to download and install this particular, or if you want the PyTorch vision, you have to install these commands. So you have to clone and build it. For TensorFlow, you have to install all these one by one support things, and you have to download the wheel file from NVIDIA, and then you can go and install it. So I'll be teaching you guys one by one. Before that, we have to see about the topic. So today's session, day 5, is going to be about AI with NVIDIA. Day 5 is about deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. Okay, so these are two common and major frameworks. Let us learn one by one. Can we start? Can I get some response in chat box? Can I get some emoji in chat box as a sign to continue? Can you guys float some of the emojis in chat box to kickstart our session? Can we start? Yes, fine. So we'll start now. We'll start our session now with AI with NVIDIA Day 5, Deep Learning Frameworks, TensorFlow and PyTorch. I hope you guys are clear about the working principle of a deep learning model, right? So you actually have the neural network, we have the forward and backward propagation, we have the loss function to calculate the loss, and then optimizers to adjust the randomly adjusted weight and bias. So this process happens so that over the time your model tries to reduce the loss. Okay, with new weights every time it updates and proceeds. So it is supported by loss function, optimizers, and some activation functions. Theoretically, we have learned about what all these things, how will they work and all. But technically, when you want to build, there are two major frameworks. We will be learning the introduction about them in this session. Typically, we will be building a neural network and making it work with both these packages. One is TensorFlow, another one is PyTorch. In our upcoming session on tomorrow, on Sunday, we have a session and you can follow through it there. So, starting with a library which is very famous, which is TensorFlow. Okay. So, looking at TensorFlow, it is a leading open source library designed for developing and deploying state-of-the-art deep learning applications. Okay, so they heavily used by data scientists, machine learning engineers, AI engineers, software developers, and educators. TensorFlow is an open source platform for machine learning using data flow graphs. What is data flow graph? Actually, they are talking about neural networks. Okay, so you are performing machine learning, but in a more, you are taking the same principles but apply it differently here. So the nodes in the graph here represents mathematical operations, while the graph edges represent the multidimensional data array, tensors that flow between them, the values. Okay, so you have seen that the neural network architecture, right? So one node to another node, it is connected. So node here represents the neuron. The graph here you actually do here is the neural network formation. So this TensorFlow is a library where you could use to create, okay, layers, neurons, activation function, loss function, optimizers. You could create a training workflow. You could train your model with TensorFlow. So they can be trained and executed on GPUs, CPUs, and there is something known as TPU as well. In now latest hardwares they are having TPU. Okay, and there is recently nowadays they have NPU, which is neuron or neuron processing unit, which is actually neural processing unit, which is for LLM applications. Hardwares like laptops and all, nowadays companies are integrating it for AI applications for their particular. Microsoft has been introduced this and all. TPU is tensor processing unit, GPU as we know graphical processing unit. Okay, so these can be used. TensorFlow data can be implemented and trained across various platforms without rewriting the code. So you have a code for CPU, you take it, you place it in the GPU. Okay, so you run it, it will utilize the GPU and it will be running. Okay, so that is the advantage. You don't want to rewrite. Okay, so especially there are other packages where if you are going for GPU, you have to modify minorly, or there are packages where you are modifying majorly as well. Here it is pretty much simple. You are not going to modify anything. The same thing, if GPU is available, will be running in GPU as well. That's the advantage of what your TensorFlow actually is. Okay. So this means the programmers of all background, whether they are using CPU or GPU, whatever their background is, they could go and prefer same tool, okay, to collaborate and significantly boost the particular progress. So first, TensorFlow was developed and backed by Google, actually Google Brain team, for the purpose of conducting machine learning and deep learning neural network research. This system is generally enough to be applicable in a wide variety of other domains as well. Okay, so how actually TensorFlow works? There are three major distinct parts that define the TensorFlow workflow. Okay, so namely pre-processing of the data. So TensorFlow provides you APIs for pre-processing your data. Your data may or may not be proper, and your neural network require your data in a certain format. So for that you could convert your data using TensorFlow. And they also provide other use cases like building the model. So you could build a model with number of neurons, neural network, the optimizer, loss function. You could configure your model with TensorFlow. Also, you could train the model to make predictions. Okay, so the framework inputs data as a multi-dimensional array called as tensor. So you have to pass array, they would be used in the flow of process. So using the TensorFlow architecture, training is generally done on a desktop or in a data center. Okay, so you would be doing in a desktop, in your laptop or in your PC. A particular huge company planning to build their huge AI application, they are training their deep learning model, they would be going for data centers or high-end applications. So in both of these cases, the process is speeded up by placing tensors on the GPU. So when you have your data in the GPU, okay, tensors is going to be the data type here. So the data you have array. So they can be, if you place it in GPU, they can be trained faster. Models can then run on range of platforms from mobile to desktop and other way to cloud as well. And if you are familiar, okay, so when you encounter the word TensorFlow, you would also encounter another one which is called as Keras. How many of you guys have heard about Keras? Do you guys know what Keras is? So Keras is again going to be another particular Python neural network library called as Keras, is available as an open source project which helps you to facilitate with deep learning model development. And Keras abstracts most of the complexity usually associated with deep learning and offers an intuitive interface for model development and training. It will provide you easy use. It operates smoothly on top of widely available deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow, Nano, CNTK and all. So you could use Keras under TensorFlow and you could use and build neural networks applications easily with the help of this API. So Keras furthers, okay, the abstraction of TensorFlow by providing a simplified API intended for building models for common use cases. So mostly we will be using Keras only, which is inside of TensorFlow. So you would be technically using TensorFlow. Inside of that, we go through Keras to pick the layer, we build the model, we configure and we compile and use it, which we will be doing in the next class. So the TensorFlow can be used to develop models for various tasks, including natural language processing, image recognition, handwriting recognition, and different computational based simulations such as partial derivational equations and all. So the key benefits of TensorFlow are its ability to execute low-level operations across many platforms, automatic computation of gradients, production level scalability, and interruptible graph exportation. Okay, so by providing Keras as a high-level API and eager execution as an alternate to the data flow paradigm on TensorFlow, it's always easy to write code comfortably when you go over TensorFlow. TensorFlow would, when I teach you guys next session about how to build neural networks with TensorFlow and PyTorch, most of you guys would prefer TensorFlow because it's easy to use. Okay, but power, when you compare, it would be better if you go on experiment, then you can go with PyTorch actually. TensorFlow is a library to create neural network algorithm. It's not even a hardware, it's not even a neural network algorithm. It is a tool or a library in Python to create neural networks. So TensorFlow and NVIDIA. So we know that NVIDIA GPU with their massively parallel architecture consisting of thousands of small cores can launch thousands of parallel threads simultaneously to supercharge compute intensive tasks, and TensorFlow runs up to 50% faster on the NVIDIA Pascal GPU recently available and scales well across GPU as well. Now you could train model in hours instead of days if you go for large language data set, LLMs and all. So TensorFlow is actually written both in optimized C++ and the NVIDIA CUDA toolkit, NVCC, enabling model to run on GPU at training and inference time for massive speedups. So actually in the backend it is actually in C++. In Python it will be interface, so you could use, it's a framework, yeah. So we'll be later on saying, we'll first discuss about the introduction of PyTorch as well, then I'll show you guys the installation commands. So you have to follow it step by step. If you miss even one command, the error will be like skyrocketing. You have to be very careful in it. Okay, so we'll discuss also about PyTorch now. Again, PyTorch is going to be another deep learning framework. Okay, PyTorch is an open source machine learning library used for developing and training neural network based deep learning models. And PyTorch is widely used in research and development of AI applications including NLP, computer vision, deep learning and all. It is primarily developed by Facebook's AI research group. If you guys look at that, TensorFlow is actually backed by Google. PyTorch is backed by Facebook, okay, Meta. So PyTorch provides seamless GPU support for accelerating deep learning computations through CUDA integration and automatic parallelization. You could directly configure with CUDA here in PyTorch and you could make it work run on GPU. Okay, so the uses PyTorch is extremely useful for researchers and developers for prototyping, experimenting and implementing the state-of-the-art deep learning models. So for the ease of use, if you are going for a final idea, you could go for TensorFlow. But especially if you want to research and develop, you want to experiment, you want to prototype, you would mostly prefer PyTorch for it. So PyTorch use core Python concepts like classes, structures, conditionals, loops and all. So it will be more intuitive to understand, but a lot of things will be directly calling in TensorFlow. Here you will be manually creating it, okay, like creating a class and creating a model, or you will be creating a training loop by manually configuring a for loop. A lot of things you have to do it, okay, here. So actually one more important thing is PyTorch is globally used in a lot of important applications as well. Something like, for example, Tesla uses PyTorch for analyzing routes in autopilot mode. That's how advanced and very important the application is. Not only PyTorch, TensorFlow has their own application in lot of other domains. For example, let us search for TensorFlow. I think we could just look at their particular site itself, right? TensorFlow. So this is the TensorFlow logo, TF, TensorFlow. End-to-end machine learning for platform for machine learning. They have a lot of use cases and applications. Okay, so these companies are actually using TensorFlow. So you could look at their case study actually. So how they actually use. For example, Airbnb improves the guest experience by using TensorFlow to classify images and detect objects at scale. And Airbus uses TensorFlow to extract information from satellite images. Okay, so ARM hardware abstraction layer leads to more than 4 times performance boost due to TensorFlow Lite. So there are companies. Coca-Cola actually enables mobile proof of purchase, okay, using TensorFlow. Intel actually uses for inference performance. So there are a lot of applications. Okay, so see, if you look at this, GPTs like ChatGPT or OpenAI actually uses PyTorch. So they have their own league and applications. They are parallelly really important in both the sites. So we will be looking at the PyTorch installation as well. Okay, and this is the trend actually. So if you look at the Google trend, okay, so you can go and manually search. For example, let us go into Chrome. So you could go into the trends to search the word, particularly, for example, let us search for PyTorch. Okay, not past day, let us go for from 2004 to present in India. So let us go for worldwide. The verb search actually. So this is the trend. If you go for the next guy, which is going to be the TensorFlow. So this is what the red color is actually TensorFlow and blue is the PyTorch, and recently this has crossed. This is the most one actually now currently. They have their own application. This is a trend actually. So comparing PyTorch versus TensorFlow, as I told, it is an important decision for any company or any particular developer or organization to decide which framework they are going to go. Although both platforms offer a wide range of features, there are some difference between PyTorch and TensorFlow, but in the end you are going to use the same neural network, same neuron, same activation function, same math behind it, but the ease and flexibility each offers is different. Okay, regarding speed and flexibility, PyTorch offers more dynamic computational graphs than TensorFlow. Okay, so they are mostly used in where experimentation, or you want to change and proof of concept you want to create, you can go for PyTorch. Not only that, we have a real-time application as well, but TensorFlow does its graph computations as static operation, which can be modified one setup only. Okay, and ease of use, when you look, TensorFlow known for its flexibility and comprehensive ecosystem, especially tomorrow when we see hands-on you could understand the difference. TensorFlow has more complex and verbose syntax. However, the introduction of the 2x version has simplified in many axes, and it has user-friendly and compatible. But when you go for PyTorch, it is celebrated for its simplicity and intuitive syntax, resembling standard Python code. So it follows Python hierarchies. So it supports dynamic computation graph, which makes debugging and developing models more straightforward. Going into performance and deployment, TensorFlow is highly optimized for production environments and offer lightweight, extensive deployment options. Like TensorFlow Lite is for edge devices like mobile and embedded device. They have small configurations still you could use. And TensorFlow.js you could go for web apps. Using JavaScript you could implement that. And PyTorch, while traditionally considered more research friendly, PyTorch has made significant strides in deployment as well. Like they go for TorchServe for serving models and Onyx. Open Neural Network Exchange is a platform where we will be converting from one version into another. Later on in this course, by the end, we will be converting our model from PyTorch or TensorFlow into ONNX version, and from there we would be converting it into a TensorRT format, which is NVIDIA's own format. We'll be doing that later. And looking at the community and ecosystem, TensorFlow is backed by Google, PyTorch is backed by Facebook. Okay, so it has their own process and they are actually improving. So you could go and prefer both as well. So this is the installation. Actually, if you are using your laptop on Windows, it is actually pretty much straightforward. You go into a command prompt, you could go for pip install TensorFlow. Okay, see here it's pretty much simple. So if I have it, it is going to tell it is already satisfied. Okay, if you don't have, it is going to tell you error. For example, here it couldn't find the version. So let us check for TensorFlow pip. Actually, this you can't do in your particular, for example, you can't do it in your Jetson Nano. I'm doing it in my laptop for a demo. You have to actually, when you go for PyTorch installation, you could go for start locally, but these things we cannot repeat actually in our Jetson Nano. We have to go in a different way. Okay, so you in your lab or in your Windows you could recreate this. You could see it is downloading and it will install. Actually, it seems like I have to configure the version. So this is a different, it's running in a different version. We select the interpreter. Actually, it has been changed into something else. Yeah, it is importing. Fine. So, but when we go for our Jetson Nano, so you can follow these steps actually. So first for PyTorch, I'll explain. Okay, see here, so I am going to download using wget. It's for downloading from internet. From NVIDIA we are taking the wheel file of Torch 1.10 version. Okay, so recently the Torch has been changed into other versions. Okay, 2.3. so we are going to pick some old version because this is what compatible. Okay, this is what compatible for our 3.6 Python version. Then you have to also install these dependencies. Python 3 pip, you have to install base, these files and all, and then you have to install Python less than 3 versions, and then you have to install this numpy, and you are installing the file which you have downloaded, this wheel file. So when you do this, you would be able to see that your thing has been completed and it has been downloaded. For example, I'll show you in VNC viewer. So once it has been done, let us connect. So I was actually having the chat box here, so let me just close it. So I was just using as a secondary monitor my Jetson Nano. Yeah, so this is our home screen as you guys see. So I'm going to go into Python 3. So once PyTorch has been installed, it will be called in the name of Torch. So I'm inside Python 3.6.9. I'll import Torch here. So if you follow those steps, you would be able to configure properly without any dependency issues, because for this Python 3.6 version, that is the thing. Okay, if you go with pip install, you won't be able to get output because the new version cannot adapt, so you would be getting error. So now I have imported Torch. You could check whether GPU is configured here or not, whether it is available or not by using a simple command. You could go for torch.CUDA. Okay, CUDA is, we know that, right? Compute Unified Divided Architecture dot is underscore available. Okay, so when you run this particular command, it is going to give you boolean. If you get true, which means that you have GPU available. Okay, which means if I have an array, for example, I have x equal to, I'll create torch dot random number in the shape of 1, 2. Okay, so if I see x, I have 1 row and 2 column, so which is a 2D array with 2 elements. Okay, so this is a tensor, okay, which is going to be in the data type of PyTorch. If you look at the device, for example, x.device, it belongs to CPU now. Actually, it belongs to CPU. So if I want, I could push this into GPU as well. So how to do it is, I'll be doing something like this: x equal to x.2, and I'm pushing it to CUDA actually. Okay, so this is how you push it to GPU. So I'll run this. So initially, when you configure for the first time, when you try to push data into GPU, Jetson Nano actually takes few seconds to configure. So once it has been done, yeah. So now if you look at x, it is x. You could see that it belongs to device CUDA, and some computers have multiple GPUs. Okay, here we have one GPU which is CUDA, which is identified by number 0. So you have number 1, 2. If you have multiple GPUs, then you could configure in that way as well. So you could also check x.device. So it belongs to CUDA. Okay, now, so this is how you set up PyTorch and push it as well. So are we clear with this? Can I get some response in chat box? Are we clear with the installation of PyTorch? So if you guys want this installation commands and all, especially for others, you could join the internship. So today is actually the last day, guys. You can convert this masterclass into 1 month certified internship on NVIDIA with AI. So when you join, you would be getting lot of benefits, and that benefits include 30 days of recordings, 30 days of PPTs for download, 10 exclusive project codes for you to download, dataset, code files, downloadables, model files and all will be available for you. Okay. VIP community group for doubts and internship updates, IETE confirmation letter, 90 days of LMS course access, assignments and tasks, weekly live sessions, resume building, mock tests, internship and participation certificate. all these benefits you could get and learn one step ahead. You could get all these things at a discounted fee at 999. Okay, so this is a discounted fee at 999. You are going to get all the benefits. So today is the last day. We are going to close. Internship ends today. 20th is today. So by today this offer will close. The link has been posted in chat box. If you guys are interested, you could go and get the link. You would be getting the benefits. So you'll be getting the code files, downloadables, all the support sheets for the Linux commands and all for installation and all will be provided for you. So I think we could continue to the next one. So how to add the path actually. So you have to go and find where your Python is installed, then go into this environment variable in your laptop or in your PC. So when you type environment variables, you get this system property advanced, go into the environment variable. So go into the path actually. So here you have to add the Python program path. So here the path is actually, I've changed it into the 3.8 version. That's why I'm getting some error. Maybe I'll go with Python 3.11. I have to check the folder actually for the path. So this is for Windows actually. So maybe if you want to look at it, I'll be going for open. Yeah, it's 3.11. So that should be the path actually. So you could adjust it here. So I was experimenting with Python 3.8 and that has caused some issues for us as well. Yeah, when you apply, when you go for VS Code and all, here the list of packages which have been installed. So this is how you will be getting as well. You could see the requirement is already satisfied. So this is how we install in Windows. Okay, we go with the name actually, pip install, but in Linux, in our Jetson Nano, you have to follow the complex steps. Okay, so next one is actually when you want to install Torch Vision. Later on when we go for image processing, we have to go with Torch Vision, and at that time you can follow these steps actually, installing of this, then cloning this particular branch from PyTorch, Torch Vision, change the directory and then build it, setup. Okay, so then for TensorFlow you have to add a lot of supporting packages. So you have to use sudo apt get and pip3 to install a lot of supporting packages. So once all these things are installed, you could use wget and get this particular wheel file. If you click it, it will download. It's around 200-300 MB. When you download it, you just want to use pip to install that wheel file. When you install, you would be able to get TensorFlow actually. So let me just show you guys. So if you have done that, you would be able to get TensorFlow. So I'll just quit this and then go again into Python 3 freshly, and I'd be going and importing TensorFlow as TF. Okay, so if you follow all the steps and install, you will be able to get TensorFlow. Only in Jetson Nano we have to go and install by wheel. We have to go step by step because that version is what adaptable for our Python 3.6 in our Jetson Nano without any issue. Also in between, if you get any mistake or error, something missing and all, please try to search in internet. A lot of answers are already available. You should be aware of that as well. You should be able to get your answer from the internet, or if you couldn't, you could come to us. We'll be helping you, especially if you are internship user. Don't worry, others can also post it down in chat box. The link has been available in chat box. Again, today is going to be the last date. So you could get 30 days of recordings, 30 days of PPT, source codes, dataset, downloadable code files, internship letter from IETE, 90 days of access. You would be getting certificate, yes, assignments and tasks. weekly live sessions, resume building, mock tests, internship and participation certificate as well. Today is the last day. Internship end today. The original fee is 1,999 and the discounted fee is 999. If you guys are interested, the link has been posted in chat box. Please make use of it. So continuing, so let us view the screen actually. So we have imported TensorFlow now. As you could see, import TensorFlow as TF. So here also you could check for the availability of your device. You could go for test dot is GPU available. So if you get true, actually you would be getting, okay, if you get true, finally it is telling that the GPU has been available. Okay, so you could also go for tensorflow.config caps, I think it is on. For example, I think we have to go and use the command. Wait a minute. TensorFlow config list physical devices, actually list underscore physical devices. So when you run it, you get all the physical devices information. I have two devices set up here. Okay, one is my CPU, another one is my GPU. Can you guys see it? So both the devices are available. CPU 0 and GPU 0 are available. So you could use this. For example, we will be creating array and making it training and all we'll be doing in the next session. So that is about the installation and usage, or making sure it is available or not in PyTorch and TensorFlow. Also, I think we also have seen the importation of TensorFlow Torch Vision, right? Import Torch Vision. So that is for image vision based computer applications. I think we have to configure. We haven't installed it properly, so we have to do it. And so if you follow those steps as we did, you will be able to configure it properly. So next thing is we can actually go and do this particular thing. For example, this is PyTorch and TensorFlow. We'll be learning the basics of using both in this particular course. Now let us see about something known as Jupyter Notebook. How many of you guys have used Jupyter Notebook earlier? Yes, you would get, if you attend everyday session, you would be getting the participation certificate. PyCharm is an IDE which you could use. Like VS Code, it's a developing platform where you could write code, that's it. So Jupyter Notebook is another one, which is an app. It is a server client application that allows editing and running notebook documents via a web browser. Actually, Python have another format. Whatever we use in Python is actually .py. They are runnable file, executable file. You could also have .ipynb. Okay, the full form is Jupyter Notebook, or ipynb is Python notebook format. Okay, so this Jupyter Notebook is an app which can be executed on a local desktop, requiring no internet access, or can be installed on a remote server and accessed through the internet. We will be doing both now. In addition to displaying, editing, running notebook documents, the Jupyter has a dashboard as well, a control panel for local files, and allowing notebook shutting down kernels and all. Okay, for example, see here guys, I'll be teaching you guys first on Jetson and also on headless mode in my laptop through internet using SSH connection. See here, let us for example do one thing. You could go and do this particular step for installation. So if something is missing, you could go and install. Okay, so go with sudo pip3 install Jupyter in your Jetson Nano. You will be able to download. Okay, once it has been done, you can call Jupyter Notebook. So let me just do it so you guys can see my screen here. So I'll go for Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so when I run this, it will be opening okay, on a particular port. So you could see that it is running in the port of 48, okay. So automatically it will be opening in the browser. So localhost 8888. So you get this dashboard. This is my local directory. Can you guys see this? All the folders, all the files I have, NVIDIA CUDA 10.2 samples, it is actually here. Let me just do a new terminal and show you guys. For example, ls. So you have all these files, right? So this is what you have here. For example, I'll just go into this master class. I'll just create a new file of Python 3. Okay, so here it is Python notebook format. For example, I'll just go and use the same import torch. So this is actually notebook format where you could create a cell, you could run it. If you want to run, you could add new cells, you could configure everything is interconnected, you could run this patch separately, this box separately as well. So you could modify and use it for research and experimentation. It will be great for learning as well. So I'll go for torch.cuda.is available. True, and again we go for import TensorFlow as tf.config.list_physical devices. Now I'm going to do or connect. As you could see, it has been generated, right? So we could use it for our experimentation. From today onwards we'll be using this. Again, I am using my Jetson Nano. I have the monitor and I am also connected. It's headless and you are seeing in the VNC viewer. I could also edit from here as well. Using this cursor as well, I could edit, I could do the task. I think this is something like I can do much better because they are connected in the same network. So what I am going to do is, they are actually running in a local host, right? It's actually running in a port. I could directly access that port, okay, via SSH connection. How many of you guys know the full form of SSH? What is SSH connection? So I'm going to use so that I'd be opening my browser, okay, I could directly connect here itself. For example, I'll open a new tab. What if I could use my Jetson Nano, connect it headless? I could go into a local host here and connect it. I could actually do it, guys, using SSH connection. Can we try it? Can I get some response in chat box? So we'd be using the SSH protocol. There are different protocol, like secure shell protocol is what SSH is. Okay, so you could go and connect, okay, using a simple command. Actually, for that you need to know a few more things. Okay, for example, so what I'll suggest you to do is, let us keep it. Let me first save it. Okay, so we'll be getting back now. So I'll just save it. Where to save? Okay, so you can't save using Control S. So if I'll just file, save as, maybe I'll give a name of day. Today is 5, right? Day 5 demo. Okay, so I'll save it. That has been done. So I'll just close it off. I'll close these guys. Okay, so I've done. I've closed it. Fine. I'll just cut it off. Yes, done. Everything is closed. I'll keep it idle. Okay, close this. I'll also go and get my IF config so that I could connect now. Okay, so I need to get my IP. So we have this IP, which is what we have to connect. So the particular code is, you can also try if your Jetson and your laptop are in same connection, same network. Go and open your command prompt and go for this command actually, which is something like SSH-L. Okay, so the port I'll mention, for example, go with 8000. Okay, so you have to connect with 8000 only later on. So I'll go with localhost. Or if you want, you could mention other port as well. Okay, so here I'll go with 8000. Please make sure everywhere it's 8000 port. And then after this, I'm going to mention, I have to mention my Jetson Nano username, which is I have given as pantech at you have to mention the IP, okay, of your network, which is going to be 192.168.0.108. So now if I press enter, since both are in same network, it is asking me for the password of my Jetson Nano. So I'll enter the password. Enter. As you could see, now I have been into the Ubuntu. I am just accessing it remotely using SSH connection. So if you look at the LS, you get the same folders or the directory which I had there as well, right? So you could use in this way as well, headless mode. So I'll change the directory into the folder called as master class, where I have created a file in the name of day 5 demo. As you could see, let me just open the Jupyter notebook now. Okay, Jupyter notebook, but the problem is by default the Jupyter notebook will be opening in 8888 portal, right? So if I want to open it in 8000 portal itself, okay, I could go and do one thing. For example, I could add this parameter which is going to be port is equal to 8000, because that's what I have connected. If I go with some other port, I won't be able to get whatever port you have called here. Go with that. So I press enter. Okay, so it has been available. So let me just copy any of these links, Control C. So I'm going to go into the browser, paste it any one of your browser. You would be accessing your Jupyter notebook of your Jetson Nano from here. Okay, so as you could see, this day 5 demo is available. So we are just remotely broadcasting the screen here and accessing it remotely, okay, using SSH. And you could, for example, I'll just edit and clear the output. Okay, for example, okay, we'll go with run all. So as you could see, it is going to run again, and it is actually using our Jetson Nano, so you get the same result. Actually, this laptop don't have a GPU. It is actually running from your Jetson Nano. You could also access your terminal by using exclamatory mark, go with NVCC-FM version. So this is what we'll be using for our next class from onwards to learn to build. Okay, so we go with both PyTorch and TensorFlow to create basic neural networks in the next session. Okay, so I could also, yeah, so this is how we use. You could this will be seamless, right? You could use your own device, laptop as well, which you are comfortable, and go in the headless mode. So yeah, that's how. If you want to close this connection, you can press first Ctrl C to close your Jupyter notebook. Okay, and if you want to come out of this SSH connection itself, go with Ctrl D. That would be closing that port connection. So that Ctrl D will be able to help you out. So that's how we go and configure, okay, in SSH as well. So day 5, I think we have successfully completed. Yes, we could also use PuTTY for SSH connections. Okay, this is also some way, since we are using Jupyter notebook. The same thing we'll do in the next session and open the Jupyter notebook, where we are going to learn to build neural network, train it from scratch using TensorFlow and PyTorch. So if you are aware of the basics of machine learning, please look at it once again and come back to the next session, which we are practically implementing their entire machine learning project in simple steps with deep learning neural network via PyTorch and TensorFlow. That's it for this session. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. And one more thing, today is going to be the last day, guys. If you guys are interested to convert the masterclass into 1 month certified internship on NVIDIA with AI, you would be getting 30 days of recorded sessions, 30 days of PPT, exclusive project code, source files, downloadables, content like this. All the installation commands step by step will be provided for you to easily install and make it work. VIP community group for doubt and internship updates, IETE internship confirmation letter, 90 days of access to a LMS course, assignments and tasks, weekly live sessions, resume building, mock tests, internship and participation certificate. All these things you could get it at a discounted fee at 999. And today is going to be the last date. It's a limited offer. Today we are ending. So if you guys are interested, you could make use of the link which has been posted in chat box and get benefited by getting it in a discounted fee at just 999. Today is the last day. By today 12 PM we will be closing it. So that's it guys, thank you. We'll see tomorrow on building neural network from scratch using PyTorch and TensorFlow. Thank you.